Hello, and welcome to SpaceEngine Exploration. So, it's been a pretty good week for the channel. We have hit 5,000 subscribers, which is really awesome. I would consider that a pretty huge milestone for the channel. As I said on my 5,000 subscriber video, I never actually anticipated hitting that amount, but that is genuinely really awesome that I did. Like I said, just it's kind of mind-blowing. 5,000 people is not a small number by any means. I mean, on the scale of YouTube, of course, it is, because you have these people with hundreds of thousands, even millions of subscribers and all that, but to see 5,000 that actually have subscribed to me is just crazy. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So the first suggestion is from Derpsauce Gaming, and he says it's an Earth-like Terra, but he kind of inputted the ID wrong. He put like equal signs. So I'm gonna have to replace that with dashes maybe. There we go. And it's a temperate Terra with life. Okay, and it looks like we're in an irregular type galaxy. And we have a couple of asteroid moons. Is there any large moons around it? Doesn't appear so, unless that's one. No, that's just another temperate asteroid. So this planet has a couple of faint rings. You can kind of see them against the back of the galaxy right there. And in this direction you can see that it is actually a binary star system. Not really much of a description here other than it's just an Earth-like Terra, so let's go ahead and touch right down on the planet. It's got that really thick white foggy effect. And it's got that quote-unquote generic life texture that you see on planets pretty commonly, which is just a green noisy texture. It's not really identifiable what kind of life it would be. Like, it looks like it could be some type of treetop or some type of moss. You really can't tell. But as you can see, it's got like these eroded canyons over here, which is pretty cool. Just kind of dip down into a valley and not really much terrain features beyond that. I wonder if there's any other type of land formation on this planet. Is there any like mountains or anything like that? It does appear so. I think these are those rounded type of mountains, so we had kind of a blend of canyon terrain, and then we have like these rounded mountains on the other as the like other terrain feature. So I don't think we're gonna find any jagged hills or anything like that. It's this kind of noisy grain texture, like it's all covered in sand. So let's go ahead and zoom out and let's go over to a drier section real quick and kind of confirm that observation. Okay, so it's using that kind of cracked, dried mud texture, with again that grainy sand texture on it. There's a cloud clipping into the terrain right there. And that looks like some kind of grass texture. Or that could be like that weird looking cliffside texture. I can see that there is like that tree texture as well. Almost acting like an alpha map. You can see it a little bit better right here. Interesting. So let's go ahead and zoom out and check out the... Oh, we do actually have some snow caps as well. Oh, and we have like some actual tall mountains on here too. In fact, they're actually layering, as you can see here. Really cool looking. Oh yeah, and that one grass no wait, that's like a coarse rock texture actually. That's like a secondary map on the cliff sides, it looks like. But as you can see, it's like two layers of mountains. We have like the kind of tall layer, which leaves like almost like this pathway here. Looks almost like a it's a word I'm looking for, a quarry or something like that. I think, no. Is the term quarry what I'm looking for? I'm gonna have to Google this. Ah, yes it is. It looks almost like a quarry, like it was like intentionally dug that way. But I guess that's the natural land formation. Like, look at this. Does this not look like a quarry? That looks like a quarry to me. Anyways, let's go ahead and the stars that are parenting this planet. So over here we have a bright star, which is an orange dwarf. Nope, yellow subgiant. Oh, that's an interesting star that you don't usually see very commonly. Whoa, flew right into it. Having some poor control of my speed right now. As you can see, it has like some type of asteroid belt or protoplanetary disk around it. Nothing too much going on there. And over here we have a red dwarf, which I guess would be orbiting around the yellow subgiant, would be my guess. Or are they actually like full binary? They are definitely binary, but as you can see, the red star is orbiting quite far around the yellow star. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion, which is from Mr. Chris. He says go to 74 Leo. It's worth mentioning with galaxy suggestions, I do not usually... Oh, it's actually a star. With galaxy suggestions, I do not actually bother to visit anything there. I normally just check out the galaxy, visit the black hole, because I don't really have any description or instruction on what to do. Oh, this one as well. It kind of has a protoplanetary disk and 2 comets going on. 3. I assume those are actually the planets, though, not actually comets. Let's go ahead and check out this first one, which is a scorched desert. So it's got that scorched, like, pink and blue effect going on. Not really going to check this planet out. As you can see, it has some crazy wind patterns. But I will show the star's light being passed through the atmosphere, as you can see there. Really cool effect. So you can see the shadow of the planet. It's the shadow of the planet on the atmosphere right there, which is a pretty cool effect. And this is a very, very pretty view. That is a crazy view. Anyways, let's go ahead and check out the next planet in the system. Okay, so this is the one we're on. These are a couple of closer scorched deserts. Like, here's one right next to the star. Have some thermal emission shift, but I don't think it's actually molten. So let's go ahead and go to this hot ice giant over here. Got like that kind of pink and blue theme that the other planet had. Also got a slight effect of thermal emission shift. You could just, I don't know if it's actually being picked up in the video though. We got a hot selene over here. So a planet kind of like Mercury. Another hot selene over here. And a warm desert over here. Kind of got that pink and blue theme. And then we have like a kind of Jupiter-like gas giant over here. It's even got a big storm on it too. And the only thing actually orbiting around it is a binary twin. Interesting. So let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion, which is from Grantiford. And if I do sound like I'm tired, it's because I am. I'm actually recording before it gets all hot in my room today, so... Yeah, I'm trying to get it done early in the morning, so that means I just woke up. Oh, that's a really neat looking tidally locked planet. What's going on here? Is this like a collision or something? Why is it so dark over here? Oh, I think my game's gonna crash. Nope, it caught up. Look at that. That is weird. I can only assume that's like some type of big nasty collision or something. Titan as well. Oh, whoa, that's laggy. Don't want to do that. This is a really cool looking planet. I really love the color scheme. There's a nebula over there. This is a Titan, so if we go ahead and turn on the real planet brightness, it'll be super dim, but it gives it a really cool lighting effect when you actually touch down. Look at that. Like, kind of like ridges of ice. At least I can only assume it's ice. It is a Titan. And we do appear to be in the Milky Way galaxy. If I were to guess, it looks a lot like the Milky Way. Ah, yes, there's Andromeda. So supposedly, not a normal star over there. That is in fact a white dwarf. Accretion disk this time. But let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Let's go ahead and turn down the exposure so we could actually see this beautiful star. Ah, there we go. You can see the texture maps actually passing through the star. Yeah, really cool effect. So let's go ahead and check out the next planet from Granteford. Let's go ahead and reset our exposure. Oh, that's a really cool looking galaxy. So a gas giant that looks uncannily similar to Earth. Really seeing the similarities here. It's very oblong shaped. And if you're talking about the actual, like, textures on the gas giant, they don't really match up. Yeah, I'd have to say this doesn't really look like Earth, unless you mean like a moon orbiting around this gas giant. I mean, it's definitely got a unique shape in the bands. Like, I'm not used to seeing something like this. But I mean, if you mean like it's the actual tectonic plates of Earth or something like that, like the actual land formation and continents, I'd have to say no, not quite. Unique gas giant. I don't see gas giants that have like bands like this really ever. I don't think I've seen anything like this before. And it's also got the really cool bumpy cloud layer to keep up with, because I do actually have time moving rather quickly. But it's totally got a 3D cloud layer, and these always amuse me. Anything else actually like noteworthy in this system? Let's see. Oh yes, the galaxy we're in. That was actually a really cool looking galaxy when I flew in. Ah, that's because it's the Black Eye Galaxy, isn't it? That it is. Looks so cool when we actually flew in. The interstellar dust, I assume, is all this black stuff. Yeah, it's it's just got a lot of interstellar dust, I guess, and that's what makes it so dark. But when you fly in right here, it's like it's just a clearing, like it's a huge ring around you. Really cool. And you can hardly see anything because it's so bright in the center. I assume that's the central black hole right there. Ah, yes it is. Hello, black hole. So let's go ahead and visit the next suggestion, which is from Charles the 50th. And the only thing they mention is that it's an amazing moon, and it looks like it's in a star cluster. This black hole. Here we go. Okay, so this is a moon of that gas giant with a beautiful globular cluster in the background. And it looks like we're in the center of a galaxy. By the even distribution of stars around us, in fact, this might be the central black hole, or central star cluster in this galaxy. So let's go ahead and zoom in. Here with life, so let's go ahead and touch down on this little island over here that looks like it has like a kind of swamp-like terrain on the edges. Okay, so immediately we have the kind of dry-looking tree textures here, mixed in with some type of whatever that texture is, like lighter green. Should be more visible over here. It's just the generic life texture number 5. And we got these kind of rounded, bumpy hills, but over here in the background, it looks like we have the taller, more mountainous terrain with some slight erosion to the hills, not a significant amount from what I could tell, and some snow peaks. And it does look like we actually have multiple cloud layers, including this lower one, which is incredibly bumpy. And it's so incredibly bright in the center of this galaxy. One thing that was actually going to be updated in the game was the of galaxy lighting on planets. So if it was like in this very bright center of the galaxy, the dark side of the planet should be illuminated. So hopefully we do see that in a future update. That is on the potential changes list. We have a frozen ice giant over here. And here's a gas giant over here with aerial life. Interesting. And a very dark moon that I think is stuck in the shadow of the gas giant. It's also heated up because of, I can only assume, effects, but really cool effect. So like this dark side of these planets would certainly be illuminated. Go ahead and move on to the next suggestion, which is from the Interstellar Storm 4180. And I'm going to take a wild guess and say it might be in that galactic collision. Did you guys see that? It's in a galactic collision. I don't think it's in the same galactic collision, though. I don't see that other galaxy that's just looking straight head on at us, like looking at us funny or whatever. It does look like we're in possibly a globular cluster, though. It's incredibly bright here. So what's the description for this world? It's a frozen gas giant with a large Oceania. So that's the Oceania, I can only assume. And that's a little spiral galaxy just hiding in there trying to blend in with the stars. Say little, it's a galaxy. Oh, there it is. Just staring at us over there. I don't like the way that galaxy's looking at me. Anyways, I don't think there's really any features on this gas, or not the gas giant, the Oceania here. Well, as you can expect, it's an Oceania. There's no actual terrain. Does it actually have like, well, what is going on there with the clouds? It's got like a little stripe there. It's like a hurricane, but it didn't actually like take in any of the clouds that were around it. It's just like a little spiral of wind, I guess. I'm gonna say, let's see if there's multiple cloud maps, as there typically is on these Oceanias, and it doesn't look like it. But over here we have the gas giant mentioned, which is a pretty small gas giant, I think. Ah, yes, so this is probably less mass than that Oceania right there. More than likely, actually. We could actually check that. Oh, no, it's actually more mass. That's a little bit weird. But it's got kind of a beige and gold banding going on here. Bands on it look gold. Interesting. Looks like almost like white jewelry with like gold accents or something like that, you know? I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but I wouldn't know specifically what it is. Like a pearl with like gold accents, maybe, perhaps. It's like. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion from the Interstellar Storm 4180. Let's go and paste that in. And we might have a game crash. Okay, let's go back over there. So we're next to a globular cluster again, in the same galactic collision. Got some pink rings, it looks like, with a little bit of orange on the outside. And the description is another Terra that looks just like Mars with water. Also looks like Phobos was ripped apart and turned into rings. Go look at the sunset too. Sorry if I made a mistake. Sorry if a mistake was made. I think this is the right planet you're talking about. It's like kind of a red and blue Terra. I guess this would look kind of like a terraform Mars, except let's see. Yeah, if it was like a Mars with water, I would expect it to be like just kind of like half the planet, or like a good third of the planet would just be covered in ocean, because that's just kind of the terrain layout for Mars. So it's marine life. We're not actually going to be able to see the life texture. It's all in the water, and the water doesn't really support any textures currently. But we do have these kind of mountains here. They're really spread out too. It's just like only the mountain peaks have generated or something. The wonderful looking rings rip Phobos. And we got this kind of lovely blue atmosphere, but it's a very, very dry looking world. 15 degrees, so maybe it would be kind of like a developing Mars. But of course, Mars doesn't really support the magnetosphere to actually maintain this atmosphere and prevent the solar winds from the sun from picking off the atmosphere over time, so who knows if this planet does. Some rounded hills, as you can see. And I was asked to visit the sunset. And like it's gonna be actually kind of Earth-like. Yep. Very Earth-like sunset, it looks like. Oh wait, there's a little bit of green in there. Is that like the upper atmosphere or something? Definitely see some green blended in there. It has that lovely kind of striped shading effect going across the terrain too, right there where the sun is setting. You can see it better right there. You can see like some winded stripes going across the terrain. I always like worlds that do that. Gives it a nice little extra detail, I would say. The water looks green. Let's check out the water. It does look like we actually have some green water. I don't think that's the actual atmosphere doing that. You can also see the beautiful shadows of the rings. So let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion. It is from Sebi Trains. It looks like they posted 3 IDs. I'm just going to visit the first 2. Alright, here we go. This one's in a random star cluster. Okay, so it looks like we have some binary worlds going on. So go to this planetary system. No further description from what I could tell. Okay. So there's no life on this world. It is a frozen titan, so let's go ahead and get the real planet brightness going on. There we go. Now we can see what it actually looks like. In terms of brightness anyways. And this is actually a brighter titan than I'm used to seeing. Look at these hills. Those actually look really cool. The way they're like eroded, but they're not pointy looking, but they're like what would the term be? Almost pyramid shaped in a way, but yeah, these hills actually look really cool. They look a little bit different than the ones you actually typically see on Terras. And they even plateau off pretty well. Back into the kind of valley terrain, I guess you would say. This would be like kind of a large valley between all these mountains here. There's a orange hurricane, which you can only imagine would be freezing cold. Look at that galaxy in the background. That is really cool. There's also an elliptical type galaxy over there. That's probably why we're not seeing so many stars in the sky. We're just kind of in a globular cluster. Let's check out its binary twin over here. Or that might just be a moon. It's another Titan, though. I was fiddling with my headset wire. So, looking around, it looks like the hills are not as tall and they're a little bit smoother and more rounded. There's the other world right there. It's kind of... we can only really see the dark side of it. Not really too much to see here. The atmospheric composition is like purely nitrogen though. So, I wonder what all this frozen stuff is. Just nitrogen that actually froze? Intriguing. Not really seeing too many noteworthy landmarks on this one, other than it's got that kind of quarry thing going on here. And there's a volcano over here. I wonder if it's like a volcano of like something like nitrogen or some crazy element like that. That'd be interesting. Oh, look at that texture. I don't think I've actually seen that texture before. Weird. And for some reason it has the winded sand texture in there. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion, which is once again from Sebi Trains. Okay, so we have something interesting going on here. There's a star over there. There's a star over there. That star looks crazy. So, what type of world is this? This is a Terra. I'm not really seeing any land on it. Apart from the occasional volcano that's kind of just coming out of the water. It looks like it's mostly in Oceania. I'm not really seeing any continents at all. Check the other side here that's illuminated by the other star. No, there's not really much to land on. Effect though. You got like the sun that's like about to set there, but you still have light from the other star that's like going kind of around the planet and bending around the planet a little bit. Let's go ahead and check out here. What is causing that crazy comet tail? Whatever these objects are. There you are. I see you in there. Scorched desert. Now that is a view. So this is definitely a molten planet. No doubt about that. Crazy. Look at how many layers we actually pass through. Then we have the atmosphere, which is casting this crazy shadow. Planet that's casting a crazy shadow through the atmosphere. Look at that. Crazy that the lights actually diffuse that heavily too. Blinding star here. That is definitely a planet that will be burning away. Let's check out what we got over here. Another scorched desert. This one actually has some moons, weirdly enough. This one's a little bit further away, so we have a slightly better view. You can see Andromeda over there in the background. Can't even see the surface of this one. Ah, there it is. This one isn't quite as molten as the other one, it appears. It is a fair bit further away from the star, but definitely scorched. And it's got some crazy comet tails going on. Put this over here, I think. That or that might just be part of the lens flare. Yeah, it's got a comet tail, but that was part of the lens flare that I was looking at. Pretty crazy. So what he wanted me to do was he wanted me to open the planetary chart and there's another planet, then go back to the other star. I don't know what you're talking about. It's binary. It's a planet that we have selected right now. It's a warm Terra. Blue. This one's A7, so this one. It's got a binary right there. In all honesty, I have no clue what you're talking about. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion, which is from Tracy Everett. So, not gonna spoil anything, just gonna tell me that is very weird. A frozen titan with life. And turn this off. So we got some nice large rings. And a very... what would this color be? It's greenish yellow kind of terrain, it looks like. Primarily nitrogen in the atmosphere, it looks like. So this does have life. Is this green stuff the life texture? That's what it looks like. That is kind of weird. Normally Titans have purple life on them. This one's like all green. Interesting. You can kind of see the aurora effect. It's pretty faint. Oh, well, that's actually pretty bright if you look that direction, I guess. Here we go. We got like this weird blue ice too. Mixed in with like a lot of green and like some crazy compression artifacting or something. It's got some like red going on. Got more of that green life. Like I said, normally on Titans, life is purple, so this is pretty interesting to see. It looks weird though. It doesn't look like normal life, even though it's using like that generic life texture that I was talking about earlier in the video. It looks like some kind of mold just taking over the entire planet or something like that. Some insane bacteria. And you can very faintly see the rings in the background. Let's go ahead and zoom out here and see what is going on with whatever this is. Is that the galaxy? Or is that some weird nebula? That's the galaxy. What is that? That's a nebula, apparently. It's using textures I've never seen a nebula use before. That's very crazy looking. What kind of nebula is it? Diffuse? This looks like a supernova in Universe Sandbox 2. That's crazy looking. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion, which is from Dylan the Villain. He's asking if I'm going to be playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 November 17th when it comes out. Backstory time. I loved the previous Battlefront games that came out on like GameCube, Xbox, and all that. Battlefront 2 and Battlefront 1 was awesome. Like the originals, not the EA ones. The new Battlefront, it was kind of fun. There was major balancing problems. Some of the maps were very one-sided for the attacking team and all that kind of stuff, and other problems related to that. And the graphics were great, the game was well optimized and all that, compliments all around, but they cut out the single player, and the multiplayer gameplay was just not really that fun, to be honest. So, will I actually get Battlefront 2? I do hear they're going to be actually adding a campaign and stuff. I don't know. I'm probably not going to pre-order it, that's for sure. I don't really pre-order games anymore unless I'm for sure that I want this game and that I'm going to buy this game. So, Battlefront 2, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm actually going to buy it right away, if at all. So, let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion, which is from Galacticon. So you name this planet Planet Canada. Wonder why that is. Maybe like a ball of ice. Oh, this is Planet Canada, apparently. Got some beautiful purple rings. I think that's purple. And we got this really lovely detailed terrain. So what do I think of this name? How accurate is it? Let's see. Does it have like pine trees everywhere? It looks like grass. Has this lovely blue sky. As you can see, it's like striped through with the shadow of the rings. Check out what this darker terrain is. It's something. I think it's that generic life texture. So grass and that mossy texture, it looks like. Ooh, we got some sand. No, there's no sand in Canada. This is completely inaccurate. Scrap the entire world. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know where the name Canada comes from for this planet, but I guess you could say the terrain features are a little bit similar. Oh, wait, I think we found the pine trees. This is definitely Canada. We have like some other trees here. You know, I'm just gonna assume that's definitely the treetop of maple trees. So yeah, obviously this is Planet Canada. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion, which has an incredibly long description that I'm probably just going to skim over and not actually read out loud, while I paste in ID. Binary star system. Third planet is a temperate Terra. So, let's go to the third planet. That's a yellow dwarf and a red dwarf, by the way. Fourth is a pinkish purple gas giant with a Mars-like moon. For the record, Galacticon, I can't actually be like bothered to visit like all of the worlds in a system, only because like I said, I really want to keep these videos like an hour long. And there's like so many new subscribers, it's really hard to keep up with the suggestions, so just for future reference, like pick one world or one object and just kind of stick with that. It's like, I know I used to, like when I first started this series, I would visit like every suggestion everyone posts regardless of how long it took, but yeah, now there's like so many people here, it's just really hard to manage that. And this is kind of weird terrain. Like you got a little bit of like rock faces peeking here, but these are like hills of grass. There's very little actual like cliff faces on this terrain here. They're very wide hills too. And that's kind of just what it is all the way across the planet, it looks like. Actually, we have some more jagged hills right here, which actually do have cliff faces. And they're really, really nicely generated ones, too. Kind of has that layered effect going on. Looks really cool, nonetheless. As you can see, it does actually have a tree texture as well, not just a grass texture. And there's the beautiful sky. Very nice. Out another world in this system real quick. This was a gas giant. It looks really cool in the thumbnail, so I do want to actually see this one. Wow, that's weird. Weird way I was turning there. It's a very oblong shape. It's got like a bluish purple color. And the top of it is also very detailed. Like there's the top of Jupiter that we just got pictures of because we got it's in a polar orbit around Jupiter, if I'm correct. To observe kind of the top of Jupiter, which we haven't really observed before. This one kind of has that going on, but it's much bigger and much more detailed, I would say. And I assume it has the bumpy clouds, and yes, it does. And there is an explosion back here, and it looks kind of cool. It looks almost like a supernova, but it's actually a diffuse nebula. So, yeah, here it is, the Mars-like desert. It's got like the snowy peak, so it's got that going for it, but there's not really any terrain detail at all. And a lot of active volcanoes. No atmosphere as well, really. There's a little bit of an atmosphere. You can see it back there. Not much at all. Interesting. Let's go ahead and check out the next one, which is this gas giant over here with aerial life. And rings, too. What moons does it have? Warm Terra and a hot Oceania, it looks like. Looks almost like a desert, but it does have a few craters here with water in them. Back on my home world, we kind of call those lakes. And there's no actual life here, so no life textures to actually look at this time. We do have some volcanic activity. And we actually have two hot Oceanias of two different colors. There's the first one, which is kind of a dark blue, and then we have this tan one over here. And there's the gas giant itself. Looking almost like Saturn over there in the background, just incredibly dark. Well, I guess Saturn is actually pretty dark. Anyways, I think it wants me to back out and look at the galaxy as well. Ooh, it's like a ring-type galaxy colliding with a elliptical-type galaxy. Interesting, so there's just stars everywhere. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next edition, which is from Kathy Rowland. And they want me to visit Adenoe, I think that's how that's pronounced. And it's an object that's actually orbiting around Jupiter. Planting me right on the surface of this asteroid. Now, the asteroids in this game are randomly generated. I don't think it's going to take the shape of the actual asteroid itself, unfortunately. That. Jupiter over there. That is Jupiter. It's very far away. There's Jupiter. Yeah, we're pretty far away from Jupiter. No real facts about this one, but would this be like the furthest orbiting asteroid away from Jupiter or something? Or is it just, one of the many asteroids that actually orbit Jupiter? Let's go ahead and turn down the stars and let's turn up the planetary brightness so you can actually see that there is tons and tons and tons of small asteroids orbiting around Jupiter. I could even take it a step further by turning up the over brightness. Ah, yes, there we go. So now you can see all the asteroids that are orbiting around Jupiter, and no, it is not the furthest orbiting one, I don't think. I think that probably goes to that one over there, probably. Or maybe not. It had a comet tail, though. If you guys can see that. That's probably just due to me turning up the brightness too much. As you can see, the sun's incredibly bright, but you actually have a really cool view of the asteroid belt. There's Jupiter right there, so we have this cool view of the asteroid belt. Actually, see the Kuiper belt by any chance? There's a... Wow, that is really dim. We might not be able to see the Kuiper belt all that well. You can kind of see some of the larger objects that are orbiting in it. But you can't actually see all the very small asteroids that are actually orbiting in the Kuiper Belt until we actually pass pretty close to them. Interesting. Now, what's weird is we do have the planet brightness turned up. What are we looking at? What are these small white dots? These are clusters. So it actually makes these small open clusters actually more visible. Very interesting. Let's go ahead and reset our magnitudes. For brightness on, you can see that the stars are looking a little bit weird now. Let's go ahead and fix that setting real quick. There we go. And let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion. This is from Val. Only one suggestion. It is the third planet of an A star of a binary yellow dwarf system in the outer ring of the Andromeda Galaxy. Let's go ahead and check it out. Whoa, did I just paste it twice? There we go. Wow, that is some really, really light blue water going on there. Wonder if that's just the atmosphere doing that. So it does have life, it looks like, marine and terrestrial. Tell what that life texture is. It looks almost like some kind of beached seaweed or something. And the ocean is actually a green color. It's just the atmosphere makes it look very, very light blue. I'm not really too sure what's going on with these life textures. I'm not quite sure what they are. It looks like potentially the grass texture, but it's very, very faint. Yeah, this is definitely Andromeda Galaxy. You could tell because it looks a lot like the Milky Way Galaxy in its actual picture, like the actual, when you look towards the center. But as you can see, it has like this much more bluer color. Which is interesting because our observations of Andromeda are a little bit inaccurate to this. In my Andromeda video in the thumbnail, I actually photoshopped it a little bit. I made the center a little bit more red. As that is what Andromeda is expected to look like when we actually observe it. It does actually have a kind of red tone to the center. I figured it was kind of lacking that in the game, so I kind of just photoshopped it a little bit and made it look a little bit more red in the center. Got some really jagged hills going on here, especially for Terra. And here's the lovely auroras on this world. So the yellow star is an A-type star. I don't really know my star classifications or anything like that, so that is not something I would actually know, but it's a yellow dwarf, kind of like our own star. I can only assume it's probably in its main sequence stage, much like our star. So let's check out the second suggestion from Kathy Rowland, and it is Kepler 45b. Yes. And back to the Milky Way. So it's a beautiful, kind of purplish world. The description for it is it's a large super Earth that has a thick cloud layer and has a yellowish white parent star. Let's visit the major moons. Documented planets or catalog planets do not actually have moons in this game. They don't actually generate any. They're not really not procedural, but they just don't generate extra moons. The cataloged planets or Kepler stars also don't really generate any additional moons, but when you go to something like Betelgeuse, for example, it will actually generate extra planets and moons procedurally. In the game, though, when you go to a Kepler planet and just visit the one planet that's actually been observed, it's not actually seen. And it does generate these randomly typically. In this case, it is not actually a super Earth, it is actually a gas giant orbiting very, very close to its parenting star. So the game is not perfect in that sense, but it doesn't really do a bad job at it. Like, the world is here. It probably does meet all the specifications. It's just not classified as a Terra, for example, or a scorched desert, which it would be in this case. I'm sure there is parameters where that, like in the actual settings, that can make this like a Terra, for example, but in this case, that string or whatever that actually makes it that value is just not set to Terra. It's just set to randomly generate. So by default, or the game assumes, or procedurally generates, or there might be a chance or whatever, it decided to place a gas giant here because those are commonly found around red dwarfs. So let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion. One more from Kathy Rowland. It is the third suggestion, but this is just a galaxy. I just want to see what it looks like because it is called the Bear Paw Galaxy. And for the record, only 2 suggestions per person for video. And I don't think it's actually in the game, unfortunately. Galactic Hunt corrected it and said it's called NGC 2537, so that would be the Bear Paw Galaxy. Here we go. Galaxy. Yeah, irregular galaxies unfortunately do not actually generate anything cool either. They're just kind of a big cloud. Hopefully we start seeing something a little bit cooler with the regular galaxies, like if we go back to our Milky Way, for example, to the Large Magellanic Cloud. It's an irregular type galaxy, but as you can see, cooler texture. Of course, it lacks the kind of 3D cloud effect like it would actually be, but it looks a lot cooler when actually looking at it. So hopefully the irregular galaxies get a little bit more love in future updates of this game. So let's go ahead and visit the 2 suggestions that Andromeda has. And here we go. It is a cool desert in an elliptical type galaxy, it looks like. And it's, oh, hello. Are we in IC 1101? I think so. Jesus. This is IC 1101, huh? Yeah, it certainly is. It did it again. That honestly scared the living crap out of me. Does that every time. Like, every time I come to IC 1101 and go to anything near it, it has to like load in the black hole like a solid 5 to 10 seconds after actually. Whatever. So we got this giant black hole here. What happens if we go to the dark side of the planet? Is there even a dark side of the planet, or is that thing actually illuminating this thing? There's definitely a dark side of the planet. Something tells me the side of the planet would actually be very bright. Imagine seeing that in your night sky. You probably wouldn't be able to. You'd probably be dead. We're not a part of that accretion disk. I don't even know. But the game thinks that we don't need to be. How far the accretion disk goes beyond this. The accretion disk, I think, if I'm correct, it's like 5 light years across or something like that. I mentioned it before in one of my previous videos. Let's see if we can get the actual black hole selected. There we go. Yeah, the diameter of it is 412 astronomical units, but that's just the black hole itself. The accretion disk, we have to go all the way to this. I think the last dark area is like right here. And then look at the black hole. We are at a distance of around 1.5 light years. So it's like 3 light years across. Yeah, a black hole is incredible in this game. Really cool planet, though. At first I was like, okay, yeah, this is just a desert inside of a regular galaxy. Not sure what you want me to view, and then bam, there's IC-1101's black hole. Let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion, which is over here. He did post an imager link, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and avoid that. Oh, that is really pretty looking. It's a really cool looking gas giant. I think we have like the perfect time setting for this. Okay, so it's a standard blue and like beige colored gas giant, but the way it's actually angled with this planet looks very beautiful. Look at that. I'm actually gonna bookmark that. That looks really awesome. Like that is like wallpaper worthy right there. So this is a hot desert. Oh, okay. I thought it was like generated like a gas giant for some reason. And I can't really see anything on this desert. Let's go over to the night sky. It's a kind of Venusian style desert. It's got a very, very thick atmosphere. Ah, there we go. A really cool sunset. So I think on that note, nope, there's actually one more suggestion. That's going to actually end the video there, but let's go ahead and check out that one last suggestion. Apparently it's not working. It was from a previous version of the game. So again, I think on that note, I think I'm going to actually end the video here. There is the galaxy in the background, stars, and a thick atmosphere. Ah, there it is. Wow, that is super bright. Anyways, if you guys liked the video, please subscribe, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next video.